So what we're going to look at today is the features on the client screen. So if you go into the clients tab, you'll see there are some other sort of tabs along here that give you various details about the client. So there's the client overview, which is where we keep the name, the address, the phone numbers, the email address, and this is where you come in and edit any of those clients' details. Then there's the Patients tab. Now on the Patients tab, this will list any patients owned by Mr. Beale. So Mr. Beale only owns one patient, Taz, but if he had 3 or 4 different pets, they would all be listed here. And from here you can actually click on the patient and that will take you back into the patient tab. So it's the same as if you were to click up here and go onto the patient's record. So that will actually take you into the patient's card. What you also have here is the Appointments tab. If you were to click, Mr. Beale rings up and says, I know I've got an appointment with you sometime, I can't remember when it is. You can just get up Mr. Beale's record, go to Appointments, and you'll see what appointments he's had or what appointments he still has to have. So you can see in this case he had an appointment for Taz today, but it was earlier this morning, so that has actually passed already, and you know what he was booked in for and which vet he was booked in for. So if this was still one to come in the future, if you clicked on here, you'd be able to tell Mr. Beale what appointments he still had to come in for. Then you've got the Financial Activity tab, and if you click on there, what that shows you is any invoices that there've been for Mr. Beale and what he's paid. So you can see he had an invoice today earlier for $117.29 and he paid that invoice of $117.29. So you can see how much he has spent with you. You can see what invoices have been recorded for Mr. Beale. It also gives you alerts. So the alerts will show you anything you need to know about Mr. Beale. So if we were to click onto his alerts, we'll see here that he's hard of hearing. So you can put any comments that will be of future value to other people that speak to Mr. Beale. Maybe he's a bad payer, maybe he pays monthly, any notes you want to make about that client, just to remind you of things that you need to know about them when you're dealing with them. Then there's the Files tab, and this is if you've got your Google Drive enabled. Any files that you've got attached to Mr. Beale, you'll get a list of those files here, and you'll get more detail on that in the video on the storage of documents. And then you've got forms and reports. So any forms that you might want to send to Mr. Beale, you'll be able to see the forms here. So with these forms, it may be something like a newsletter, so you can just click on the form's name, newsletter, and you've got the newsletter here. You could just go and print that if you wanted to give him a copy, or you can actually click on the view form button and that just brings it up. You'll see here it's in a new tab instead of in the same tab, and it brings in that newsletter, and again you could just print it or email it. So when you're busy speaking to the client, if there's any forms you want to print or email for them that are under client forms, you can just go in here, get that form, and either email it or print it to the client for the client. Right, the other things you can do from this screen is you could print an address label. So you know that you're going to need to mail something out to Mr. Beale, even though you're busy speaking to him at the moment, or maybe you're speaking to him on the phone and you've promised to mail something out. Then what you do is you can just click on print address label, and you will then get up the address label and you can then print that to your label printer. What you can do here is you can view location. What that will do is bring up Google Maps, and you can actually see exactly where Mr. Beale lives. You can send SMS, so you might be on the speaking to the wife, and his wife says, just send him a quick text please to let him know something. You can just type in here whatever message you want to send him and send, and you can see what phone number it's going to. And the other thing you can do from here is collect payment. So if you click on collect payment, if he's owing you any money, at this point he's not owing you any money, but if he was owing you any money, you can collect a payment from here. You may want to create a prepayment, so he may be paying you some money and creating a prepayment. You can do that from here. You'll see this little button of a little person here. Any screen where you get that, if you click on that, it will just take you back to this client record. So we're back into the client record. So we've looked at collecting payments, printing address labels. You can view them on Google Maps, you can send them an SMS. You can also change their status to inactive. So if you decide this client has now left, they've moved out of the area, and you don't want them showing as an active client on your records anymore, you can go into this client card and change that status over here. What you've also got here is the option to print statements. So when you're on the financial activity tab, you can actually print a statement for this client while you're on the phone to them or talking to them at any point. The other thing that I didn't mention when we came onto Mr. Beale's screen is you're actually going to notice up here if there's an alert. So you can see straight away that there's an alert for this client. So if you get their record up, you see there's an alert, you know to go into the alerts and see what that was about, and that you can just close out of once you've checked the alert. You'll see here also the alerts can be deleted and you can add new alerts. So if you've put hard of hearing and you realize you've put it onto the wrong client, you can actually just go in and delete that. If you wanted to add a new alert like pays weekly, you can just go in and add a new alert and it'll sit here.